Your T-Rex on the loose. I'm coming out to get you. I'm gonna cook your goose.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to Reject Films, back with another Vinegar Syndrome review for you guys. As stated in the last one, or I think I stated it anyways, I'm going to do these a little bit different. I'm going to change them up from time to time. Sometimes you'll see me, sometimes you won't. This happens to be one of the times you won't see me. But, yeah, I enjoy doing these reviews from the comfort of my own home and being completely nude, so I don't think anybody wants to see that. So, yeah, I will show clips of the movie and everything like that, so that'll be interesting. Give you guys something to look at besides just listening to my voice. And, yeah, this is the second review. I already did one for Rad. I figured I'd start with the most popular one right now, which actually, at the time of this recording, just sold out today when the site went back open. So, yeah, they had like 140-something copies left when I checked it a little bit after they opened, and they all got sold. So, congratulations to those like myself who were able to grab a copy of that. And this one here is another one of their more popular titles. Tammy and the T-Rex, or Tammy and the Teenage Rex, or Tanny and the T-Rex with an N instead of M. Multiple titles to this one. I think that's what the titles were anyways. Yeah, so let's talk about the Vinegar Syndrome release here itself, though. It comes with a very nice lenticular cover on one side that you know, I don't think really lenticulates very much. But, and the other side is a nice, kind of glossy, not too shiny finish with Tammy and the T-Rex lettering a little bit embossed on the T-Rex part, and the Tammy part is not really embossed, but the names up top are you can feel those. But yeah, pretty cool slipcover. On the inside, you know, you have your standard issue reverse art that's pretty much the same, except you have your R-rated and your PG-13 rated art, just like the slipcover. You have in my edition, you did have the option of a 4K. I did not opt for that one for whatever reason, I guess because I feel like it's mastered in 4K on the Blu-ray, so having a 4K actual disc, you're not going to see much of a difference, and there was a price difference, so I just went for the regular Blu-ray and DVD combo pack. And yeah, so you know, standard Vinegar Syndrome style inside there. And as far as your features, like I said, it's a new 4K scan from the original 35mm negative. You have audio commentary with the director Stuart Raffle and producer Diane Kerman. You have Blood, Brains, and a Teenage T-Rex, an interview with the director. You have a Blast from the Past, an interview with Denise Richards. Having the Guts, an interview with actor Sean Whalen. A Testicular Standoff, an interview with actor George Pilgrim. You have the full-length PG-13 cut, which I skimmed through a little bit just to see what the difference is, and it's exactly what you think the difference would be. They just took out every gore scene, and it's pretty fucking lame, to be honest. Yeah, so I see it not really taking off because without the gore, this movie doesn't really do a whole lot. The gore makes this movie what it is. So, yeah. And then you have your reverse art by the Dude Designs. And, yeah, of course, like I said, starring Denise Richards. Early in her career, really her first feature film. I think she did National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1 and some TV shows. And aside from that, this was her first like feature film role. And of course, we all know her from like Starship Troopers, Wild Things, and man, is she, wow. She is absolutely gorgeous in this film, from the opening scene with the cheerleaders or whatever. Man, she is really something to look at in this movie. I think they were like in their early 20s, something like that. Of course, playing high school kids in their early 20s, like normal. But you know, she still looks pretty good. The interview with her was pretty interesting, and she's looking pretty good for her age. So, not sure how much work she's had done or anything like that, but it was a pretty interesting interview. Sounds like she had a lot of fun on this movie, and yeah, and of course Paul Walker, who we lost at an early age. He was only like 40 years old. Lost him in a car crash. Most notably for the Fast and the Furious franchise, which I think those roles didn't really showcase his acting chops as much. They did a little bit later on in the films, but he always had that kind of goofy presence. I don't know. I prefer movies like that he was in, like Running Scared, and what was the other one? Bobby Z with Lawrence Fishburne. Fantastic film. If you guys haven't seen Bobby Z, one of my favorite Paul Walker films, and so was Running Scared. But his more serious roles, he definitely had another side to him acting-wise than what the Fast and the Furious movies really showed us. So, yeah. And unfortunately, no interview with him because he's since passed. So that would have been really cool, though. And then Sean Whalen, you have most notably from playing Roach in The People Under the Stairs, and he was in some other things too. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but definitely has that familiar look. And he was in Twister, Never Been Kissed. He was even in like Magnum PI, stuff like that. So, but like I said, most notably for The People Under the Stairs playing Roach, he was in Hatchet 3. And this is another reason I like doing these this way. I can kind of look things up while I'm doing these reviews for you guys and give you guys the information as I speak. He was in Halloween 2 as well, so that's interesting. But he's definitely a character that stands out. Oh, and you did have I gotta find his name, but the guy that plays Isaac in Children of the Corn, you do have him in here as well. That plays the kind of mad scientist assistant here at the, he's in the movie for a little while. Not gonna say what happens just yet. We'll get to all that. We'll get to the gruesome kill scenes. So, that'll be when we start hitting spoilers. So, I figured I'd give some information on the film and things like that. For people that don't want the spoilers, you guys can have some information on the film itself. And, I'm trying to remember his name. Anyway, can't remember his name. John Franklin. There you go. Like I said, most notably playing Isaac in Children of the Corn. So, yeah, and you have George Buck Flower. Sorry. Plays one of the dumb-witted cops in here, dim-witted, whatever. They play Norval and Neville, kind of your comic relief in this film, along with the friend of Denise Richards' character, Tammy, who was I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, guys, but you do have like the gay best friend character for some kind of comic relief too, who also plays the main sheriff's son as well, so there's some of that thrown in there. And we'll talk more about that as we go on to the synopsis and everything, which is a pretty simple synopsis. But yeah, George Buck Flower, who plays Norval. If you guys look at his IMDb page, you guys will recognize him from a ton of movies, mostly playing like the drunk, credited as the drunk or the bum or the hobo or something like that. So I think this is the first time I've seen him play something other than that. So I knew that name right off the bat, and I knew that face, and so it was good to see him in here. But that's pretty much your main cast, and you have the Doctor, played by Terry Kaiser, who played Bernie in the Weekend at Bernie films, along with a ton of other stuff. I mean, he's got 154 credits to his name, so definitely a familiar face. Not a whole lot of first run stuff, but he was on like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, L.A. Law, a bunch of TV shows and things like that. Most notably TV shows, The Fall Guy, Magnum PI. So, yeah. Anyway, a brief synopsis for you guys. If you don't know what Tammy and the T-Rex is, the character of Paul Walker and Denise Richards, they're kind of lovebirds, but I forgot to go over the character of Billy. That is the other main character. It's basically Paul Walker's character, Denise Richards' character, so Tammy and Michael, and then you have Billy, the bully of this, played by George Pilgrim. The interview with him was, he didn't, I'm assuming he was serious during the interview, but it did not sound like he had a good time on this film whatsoever. So yeah, he is played by, George Pilgrim, the bully character of Billy, and it doesn't seem like he really did a whole lot after Tammy and the T-Rex. He was on Guiding Light TV series. He was Addams Family Reunion, the TV movie. So didn't really do a whole lot after that or before that, really. Just a few credits to his name before that. He's only got 11 actor credits. So yeah, it sounds like acting wasn't really his gig. And pretty interesting interview, though. I think it was the longest interview. I think it ran like 25 minutes. And the interview with the director was pretty interesting, too. And before we get into the synopsis more, they had like 3 weeks to come up with this script for Tammy and the T-Rex, and he found out that he had access to this mechanical dinosaur, this animatronic dinosaur, and it was given like a 3-week notice to pump out a script, find locations, do all this, find the actors, and they only had the dinosaur for like a week. So everything they did was in like a 20 or 25 mile radius of each other, all the shots, all the locations, and it's my understanding too. I don't know if it said it in here, but I've heard that he even asked the actors and stuff for any ideas that they had. They kind of improvised, things like that. And, they even filmed during the California wildfires that were going on at the time for a scene towards the end of the film where Tammy is on the T-Rex and you have like this red tent in the background that is from the wildfires. So that's a pretty interesting fact too. That's kind of like I don't want to say like guerrilla filmmaking, but that is really improvising and using your elements and kind of risking stuff. But you could do that back in the 90s, You had definitely a lot more freedom than you do nowadays. So, yeah, some pretty interesting facts on the film. We do have a commentary on here as well. Audio commentary with the director and producer Dan Kerman. I listened to a little bit of the commentary. He kind of goes over everything he did in the interview with the director and things like that. So pretty decent commentary track for those that are into commentaries. I'm not really big on commentaries unless it's a movie I just absolutely love. But I did skim through it and it sounded pretty interesting. So if you guys are big on commentaries, it's definitely, I would say, a good commentary track. Anyway, moving on to the synopsis of the film. You have, like I said, the character of Michael and the character Tammy, Denise Richards and Paul Walker. They're kind of in love with each other, and the character Billy, played by George Pilgrim, pretty much tells Tammy that he belongs to her and all this, and he finds out, that Michael gave her like this little necklace or some shit, and they get into it, or a bracelet or whatever it was. He just knows he's wanting his girl, and they get into a fight early on in the movie out in the front of the school where they have their testicular standoff, really long, just grabbing each other's junk and holding on for dear life until one of them gives up, and of course neither one of them do. They get broken up by the dim-witted cops and everything.
Come on, man, let's go, man. Come on.
What we got here is one of them testicular standoffs.
You're not squeezing much, Michael.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to count to 3, and then you both let go at the same time. Okay? 1. 2.
Oh, my God.
3. Damn it, I said 3.
Go around. Let's go.
What's the matter with you, boy? Ain't you got no balls?
I got a cup on.
Shortly after that, you have Michael going to Tammy's house, and Billy finding out, taking his crew there to go, fuck him up or whatever. And this is where the movie kind of goes into a serious point. It was kind of interesting for me. It was like a different movie all of a sudden. It kind of went dark and a serious tone to it. And it was intentional. It's not one of those movies that doesn't know what it is. I know there's a lot of movies that go back and forth between like the comedy aspects and the seriousness, and it doesn't know what it wants to be. But they actually did this on purpose, from the interviews and everything that I watched. And so Billy takes him out to, I don't know where the fuck they were, where these creatures are, but you do have some animals out here. You have lions, and I think there was like a panther, like a jaguar. I don't know what all was out here, and I don't know where the hell they were. They were just in the woods, and he leaves them out there to die, and he gets attacked by the lion and taken to the hospital. While at the hospital, Dr. Washington, or I don't know how to even say his name, and his assistant Helga, who was pretty damn hot, end up taking his body back to the lab and taking his fucking brain out. And that's like the first gore scene that you have is when he's taking his brain out and puts it in this animatronic T-Rex. Well, not really even. I don't know if they put it in it or what, but it just shows it going into like this bowl next to the T-Rex and some shit hooked up to the brain and things happening with the T-Rex while they're hooked up. It doesn't actually show you them putting the brain in the T-Rex. So, yeah. After that, that's when Michael wants his revenge on Billy and his gang. So he starts taking out the gang. He takes out the assistant character first and like the bodyguard, and so alert, spoilers ahead. If you guys haven't seen the movie, you might want to I don't know, not listen anymore, I guess. I don't know, but anyway, I'll try not to give everything away. I feel like a lot of people have seen this one. I'm a little late to the game on this. This is a first time watch for me, and I had an absolute blast, by the way. So yeah, it takes on from there, with Michael going and taking out the gang, and eventually he gets to tell Tammy that it's him inside this dinosaur, and they have their little emotional scene out in the barn, and she's crying and everything, and she just accepts it like, okay, that's cool. She's not even really like in disbelief or anything. It's kind of weird, but I mean, this is like a horror sci-fi comedy, so whatever. So when we finally get to taking out Billy, that's when the and I'm not going to be able to find his name, and I don't know why. Plays Theo Forsett, plays Byron, the gay best friend. Tries to tell his dad, it was a dinosaur, and of course they don't believe him. Blah blah. The Neville and Norval, they don't believe this shit, and later on in the film, obviously they believe it. Finally, Billy is taken out and his crew at a little outside party, and shortly after that, we get to the standoff with Michael being the T-Rex and the cops and everything like that. So they pretty much take him out to the point of needing a new body. He gets his new body. Well, sort of. I'm not going to give it away. What happens to Michael at the end? I'll leave that up for you guys to watch. I'm not going to spoil everything because, I feel like there's a lot of people that have seen this movie, yet there's a lot of people that haven't. So it's kind of hit and miss. This was the first time I had heard of this film with Vinegar Syndrome releasing it. And, yeah, the end scene, though, wow, Denise Richards, oh my god, she looks fucking amazing. Yeah, I could definitely go home to something like that every night. That would be wonderful. But anyway, so yeah, it's basically just Michael in the body of a T-Rex going and fucking people up. So let's show some of those gore scenes now with everybody getting their what they deserve.
See, now you really made me mad.
flat today, Carl.
This is incredible. I mean, it's amazing, huh?
What?
We need to get out of here! Come on, somebody get a gun!
You guys take this, Billy. He's kidding around.
Okay, so now that I've spoiled like every kill scene in the movie, so for those who haven't seen it and you just saw all the gore, you know what you're in for. There might have been some that I missed, left out, but the one scene that really got me was some of the effects were actually not too bad for the time they had, the budget they had and everything, but the one with where they flattened the bodyguard, that one was just like, wow. that's something else, right? But yeah, the old lady on the phone over there at the same time, and just yeah, that one really got me. But I guess the character of Billy had a hard time doing his death scene. He was like just freaking the fuck out the whole time and thought he was actually gonna die, and he just didn't like it at all, and he was just seemed like a big fucking sissy. I don't know. Like I said, if the interview with him is 100% legit and he was being serious, which probably was, who knows? But yeah, pretty simple plot line in here. I highly recommend this one though, guys. I had an absolute fucking blast with this movie. I've watched a few Vinegar Syndrome releases. I definitely got a lot to watch and review for you guys. I will review every single one that I watch, and so my YouTube is going to be bombarded with Vinegar Syndrome reviews. I've watched like Cutting Class. I've seen Body Meld. I haven't watched their release, but starting out doing these reviews for you guys with Rad and now Tammy and the T-Rex, I had a great time with both of the films. Of course, I'd seen Rad before. But yeah, the transfer on this was absolutely fucking amazing as well. I highly recommend picking this one up, guys. I believe the slipcover edition is sold out, and I think the 4K might be sold out. But this is available on the Vinegar Syndrome website, along with Diabolic DVD, probably Grindhouse Video, things like that. So yeah, if you guys are just looking for a hell of a good time with a movie, nothing that takes itself serious. Like I said, there is some dark moments, especially the scene where they leave Michael for dead is just, it was probably the darkest scene in the movie, and it was like it was its own thing. If I can talk here, I always, you guys know me by now, I always screw up my words. But yeah, I had a blast with this, and it's definitely one I'll revisit, show people. I think everybody should see this movie. If you guys are fans of movies where you just sit down, especially with some friends or something, and have a good time, have a few drinks, and just laugh at the kills and what's going on and everything. I mean, this movie just screams 90s. I believe this was released in 1994. It says 93 on the case here, but I believe it was a 94 release. And I think this did have a short theatrical run because they had to actually edit everything to that PG rating to get it to the theaters and get people into seeing it. So I believe it did have a short-lived run at the movie theater. So yeah, if this sounds like something that you guys are interested in, I highly recommend picking this up. Of course, I'm not sure if you can find it streaming anywhere. I don't stream a whole lot myself, so you might check if you're kind of iffy on it, but this is a high recommend for me, guys, on just purchasing the disc. I mean, the interviews are great. From what I listened to of the commentary is great. The transfer is awesome. Yeah, I have absolutely no complaints with this release whatsoever, and yeah, just had a really good time with this one. I know I was kind of all over the place. I'm still trying to get my my flow down on these reviews. I've only done like 100 of these fucking things. But yeah, each one is going to be different, guys. In this segment of Vinegar Syndrome reviews, I'll show myself, I won't show myself, I'll give a bunch of information like I did on this one, I'll just breeze through other ones, you know. Let me know if you guys like this presentation, where you don't see me. I know I do this on my To Be Tuesday reviews, which I really need to get back to. I don't show myself on those. But yeah, I feel this is a little better than watching me try to read off of a piece of paper, taking notes and doing all that shit. I can just kind of do this at the computer and kind of look shit up as I talk to you guys, and it doesn't really take away from anything. So I didn't look a whole lot up. I could have been a little more thorough with you guys, but I think you guys get the gist of it. So yeah, rest in peace, Paul Walker, man. You were definitely I'm not going to say great actor, but you definitely brought something to the movie communities, to the film community, a certain presence, and he's definitely missed. So Denise Richards, just keep looking hot, because wow, I just can't get over how good she looked in this. And the character of Helga, played by Ellen Dubin, yeah. Oh, I forgot, Denise Richards was in one of the James Bond films too. The Helga character was in Napoleon Dynamite. She was in the new movie Midway. She did voiceover stuff for Fallout 4, the video game. So she's still working and still doing some, you know, fairly good stuff. I mean, I haven't watched Midway, don't own it, but you know, it is a high budget, well-known release. Other than that, though, it looks like a lot of B-movie stuff. But, yeah, I'm trying to remember which James Bond Denise Richards was in, because that's going to drive me insane now that I can't think of it. It was The World Is Not Enough, where she plays Dr. Christmas Jones. Yeah. But surprisingly, not in a whole lot of first-run films. A lot of TV shows, you know, of course. You know, her role in Starship Troopers is probably her most well-known, along with Wild Things. But she was in, like, Empire, which was the John Leguizamo film. She was in Undercover Brother. She was in Scary Movie 3. She was on Melrose Place. Yeah, In Living Color. She was on an episode of that called The Dirty Dozens. Like I said, Loaded Weapon 1 was like her first feature film. So yeah, she was on Saved by the Bell, Married with Children, Doogie Howser MD, and stuff like that before doing that. And but this was like her second feature film. Anyways, again, guys, if this sounds like something that interests you, definitely go to Vinegar Syndrome's website, buy this shit. You know, buy the next bundle while you're at it for what is it going to be, July's bundle, which looks pretty interesting. I'll definitely be grabbing that. I got June's bundle on the way. I'd rather order directly from them whenever possible and show them all the love that I can. And so, yeah, until next time, guys, peace, love, happiness to everybody. And if you guys have any requests on Vinegar Syndrome releases, I have, I think, 2 or 3 more that are request titles, and then start doing random stuff. If you guys have any requests of your own, please feel free to drop them in the comments. Drop down in the comments if you like this presentation or not, or if you want to see me on camera for whatever reason. Not really sure why you would, but yeah. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.